Oh, yeah. UFC 326 is upon us this Saturday, and welcome into the Early Edge here live on CBS Sports Network. My name is Brian Campbell. The Octagon comes back to the fight capital of the world in Las Vegas this Saturday with a BMF title rematch in the main event, Max Holloway and Charles Oliveira, and we are here to set the stage and give you the best bets ahead of time. Welcome on into the Early Edge presented by BetMGM. Make it legendary. And you better believe that I got on the horn and dialed up a pair of BMFs to come on and join and set the stage for this weekend. Of course, a New York Islander in the truest sense. Here is Danny Brasco. Welcome back to the show, sir. And still, I think, the fourth most prolific wide receiver in Wisconsin State high school football history. Yes, let's welcome back Hayden Iverson to the show. Fellas, we've got a great one this weekend in Las Vegas, live and direct on Paramount Plus, including, of course, a simulcast of select fights on CBS. And it all goes down in that main event for the BMF title in a historic matchup. And Danny, when we're talking about storylines to kick this off, I wonder if I can throw out the first one and say the fifth BMF fight in UFC history dating back to 2019. This might be the best one on paper. The promise for action, the combined historical records and resumes that they bring, two former champions. This is going to be a big one on Saturday. What are you looking most forward to?
Well, besides the BMF belt, which a lot of people say, oh, it's just a ceremonial belt, this is a matchup between two of the elites at the top of the lightweight division. Don't forget what's next. If Holloway wins this fight, we could have more legendary rematches to come. He's not done chasing Ilia Topuria. We know Topuria is looking to chase Islam Makhachev up to welterweight when his personal life drama resolves itself. But win, lose, or draw, I believe that Ilia Topuria would not stay at welterweight and that he would come back to lightweight. So I think a potential rematch there is in the cards. Holloway was looking real good in round one till he got caught with those nasty shots like most do against Ilia Topuria. But hey, if that doesn't materialize, he could be fighting Justin Gaethje in a rematch that some may be fearful to see. And Hayden's going to tease another one, a matchup that Conor McGregor lost. I spoiled it, but Max Holloway lost earlier in his career to McGregor. That's always in the wing with the McGregor rumors and drama. So, hey, more rematches to come for Max Blessed, maybe.
Right, you're identifying here that the stakes are huge. It's not just the second defense of Holloway's BMF title, and he's the only BMF champion to defend that belt. It's the opportunity for the number 3 ranked Oliveira and the number 4 ranked Holloway in this star-studded lightweight division to potentially, with a win, knock on those doors of maybe interim title holder Justin Gaethje, full champion Ilia Topuria, or maybe, as pre-teased here, Hayden, something else in terms of a big prize could be on the horizon.
Yeah, Brasco kind of stole my thunder there, but I think the big win here isn't really the BMF title. I think it could be a fight with Conor McGregor because he's rumored to be coming back this summer. It's kind of the elephant in the room. If he does come back, who is he going to fight? And considering how big he has gotten outside of his competition, he's probably going to have to fight at 170. But does the UFC want to put him up against the guy that's a true welterweight? I'm not really sure that they want to do that. So with a win here, either a Max Holloway rematch up at 170 against Conor McGregor or Charles Oliveira going up to 170 against Conor as well. If we remember back when Charles fought for the title against Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier opted to not fight for the title that time because he wanted a rematch or a trilogy technically against Conor that summer. So there's something that's way more important to these fighters than title fights, than BMF title fights, and that's fighting the biggest name to ever step foot in the octagon in Conor McGregor. So this summer, somebody's going to be able to cash in on that. And this is a fight where if you put on an amazing performance in a fight where it's for the BMF title, you're the man who's holding that title. Conor McGregor for sure would want to fight for that. So that's the biggest thing here is whoever wins here could be cashing in big time, not just with the BMF belt around their waist, but also with the Conor McGregor fight.
Look, when you mentioned McGregor cashing in, are the key words in that situation. The 34-year-old Holloway comes in, the former featherweight king, who, of course, once stopped the legend Jose Aldo in consecutive fights, is going to take on the all-time UFC leader in post-fight bonuses, finishes, submissions, and currently, Charles Oliveira tied for the second most wins in UFC history with 24. Holloway, by the way, right behind them with 23. So this is in a lot of ways one of the most decorated matchups in the sport's history. I think we're combining the two most combined wins in UFC history in one fight. Two all-action legends here with Holloway and the 36-year-old Oliveira. I think the only thing we need to settle, Danny Brasco, is it going to be Holloway doing the point down in round 5 if we get there? Or is it going to be Bronx pointing down for the first 10 seconds? This is crazy.
This is amazing. If we get to that final 5th round, I think we're, of course, getting the point, and few have been able to actually hang. We know Ricardo Lamas is really the only guy that stood and banged with him in there, because we saw Holloway point down at the center against Dustin Poirier in the last BMF fight, and Poirier was ready to do it. He tucked up the guard, landed a nice sharp counter right, and then clinched because he didn't want any more of that point at the center smoke that Holloway delivers. We know what happened to Justin Gaethje. If that moment occurs, whether it's the first 10 or the last 10 seconds, I'll be on my feet screaming, BC.
Of course. And boy, do we have a fun co-main event. 2 top 8 middleweights coming off of key defeats that could have elevated them to the title level, now looking to keep pace there as Kyle Borralho takes on Reinier de Ridder. And Hayden, when you look at the storyline surrounding this fight, we know the winner pretty much goes into title contention. The loser would suffer 2 in a row. What are you looking at as the most important storyline in this one?
Well, my question is RDR coming back too soon? Because both guys are coming off a loss, but they're very different types of losses. Borralho went 5 rounds with Imavov, was relatively competitive with him, but the big mark for de Ridder was that he basically quit on the stool in round 4 against Brendan Allen. And he came out and said he had a lot of health issues going on, and that's why he had to quit in that one. His cardio just completely failed him. He was super active last year. He had 5 fights in less than a year. So that amount of activity, I think, boiled over into that fight to where his body just failed him in that one. And now this is 4 months later. So he had the health issues. He says that he's gotten them figured out. He went to the UFC PI, got some tests done, and he does look in much better shape than he was for that Brendan Allen fight. But is this too soon? Because he might feel good right now, but he's also going to have to go through a tough weight cut, come Friday morning. So that weight cut could throw off everything based on what he knows of over the past 2 months of when he thinks that he's healthy. So if he comes in here after a tough weight cut and has another poor performance or doesn't feel like himself, he might be, looking back thinking he should have taken more time off, because it might be too soon for him to come back. And if he does that and he suffers another loss, then any chance of moving up, towards the top of the division again with 2 losses is kind of out the door.
Yeah, a crowded group of individuals looking to crack that middleweight title opportunity there against new champion Khamzat Chimaev. Those are the storylines for the main event and co-main event ahead of Saturday. But boy, do we have a lot more to get into up and down this card coming up after the break on the early edge. Preliminary bets, props to look out for, so much more. BC, Brasco, Hayden, be back. We're coming back with a bang. Let's go. Just a few more sleeps, as John Anik would say, until UFC 326 this Saturday on Paramount+. The early edge is back at it here, looking at our favorite prelim bets. Brian Campbell, Danny Brasco, and Hayden Iverson along with you. And Danny, when we look up and down the preliminary card, a lot of people's eyes are going to stop on that featured prelim as former bantamweight champion, now 34-year-old Cody No Love Garbrandt continues a second half, let's just say it, slide where he's inconsistent, unpredictable, and seems to juggle wins and losses. What are you looking at specifically on this fight as he heads in here against Xiaolong this Saturday?
I'm hoping for a Cody No Love bounce back, BC, and I backed him as a big underdog against Davison Figueiredo. I scored the first round for Cody No Love. He was looking good. That signature boxing and footwork was on display. He was hitting the shuffle step. I felt good about it. And then he said when Figueiredo took him down in round 2, he experienced vertigo, some health issues, some inability to defend the grappling as well. I thought, where is Cody at in his career? Then I backed him once more against Raoni Barcelos, expecting that bounce back, and it did not go his way. But some positives in a loss, he was able to sustain a beating. He went the full 3 rounds, even in a one-sided third round. And so I'm taking one more shot on him, BC. If it comes up snake eyes, I'm done betting Cody No Love. But it just feels like the lowest level opponent he's had in maybe his career. That's no disrespect to Xiao Long here, but he's a guy that I think he can outbox, potentially wrestle, go back to those old wrestling roots Cody No Love used to put on display, and maybe show that he's a level above Xiao Long, excuse me. This is it for Cody here, BC.
Yeah, look, plus 130 on the money line for the Cody Garbrandt upset. I'd even throw a flyer on the idea of him scoring a stoppage via KO or TKO at plus 375. I know I'm making an argument for a fighter who has had so many issues. Still just 34. The power's the last thing to go. A vulnerable opponent. We'll see what happens in Saturday's featured prelim. But Hayden, elsewhere on the prelim, up and down, the bets possibilities here, where are you focusing?
Well, I'm going to stick with that fight, and I'm going to go with Xiao Long to get it done inside the distance by KO or sub. I'm not buying in to this comeback for Cody Garbrandt. I mean, he hasn't really shown me anything to get excited about. I mean, his most recent wins are against guys that got cut from the UFC and haven't done anything outside of the UFC either. So this is a guy that I've consistently faded. And with a guy like in Xiao Long, I think Cody Garbrandt probably has 5 minutes to win the fight, meaning he's probably got to knock him out within the first 5 minutes because, for one, Cody doesn't trust his durability. He doesn't trust his cardio. And I don't think he has the wrestling to hold down Xiao Long, who's a 27-year-old who pushes a heavy pace, likes to be in the clinch as well, and throws heavy hands. He's just going to have too much output for a guy like Cody Garbrandt, who likes to stay to the outside, likes to keep it clean, because at this point in his career, he doesn't want to engage because he doesn't trust his chin. Can he hurt you with his hands? Yes. But as he gets tired, that power in his hands starts to go down. And I think Xiao Long is going to take advantage of that. And considering he's the favorite here, and I can get him to win by finish when Cody Garbrandt's durability has looked pretty dang poor, I think it's a steal at plus 300. So give me Xiao Long by KO or sub in the feature prelim.
Wow, Cody Garbrandt looking to snap a 2-fight losing skid. And the irony here, Danny Brasco, the guy who looks like a young Cody Garbrandt minus the knife eye tattoo, picking against him via stoppage. But what else are you looking at on the prelims, Danny?
This is low-key a banger that you don't want to miss. It's Cody Durden taking on Nyamjargal Tumendumberil. And some bias here because my boy Toby Altayong, shout out Toby, my neighbor, is the translator for Nyamjargal. He's down there with the team. He said he's looking sharp. And I'm going to take him to win this fight inside the distance against Cody Durden, who has been stopped in 7 of his 9 pro losses. Durden has the way higher level experience. He's got a great pace and pressure in that first round, but he often fades away in the later stages of the fight, and I just can't trust his durability. Even in fights that he's been winning, he's been in some sketchy moments, and Tumendumberil is a fiery finisher. This guy's got nasty chokes. He's got big power in his hands, and I think Durden will create the chaos, invite the chaos that Tumendumberil needs to find that finish. I was impressed with him in a split decision loss to Carlos Hernandez. Say what you will about his level of competition, but Hernandez is a good fighter. And although Durden's seen the better fighters in the UFC so far, I think he's going to be put in some sketchy spots. So I'll take Tumendumberil to win inside the distance, and I think he's favored for a reason.
Hayden, Tumendumberil is easy for Dandy to say. Wow, I think I just nailed that, by the way. What say you on that pick?
I got to agree with Danny here. I mean, I just did it with the last one. Xiao Long, 7 years younger, going up against a guy that's not very durable, and his cardio is in question as well. So I'm going to go back to the well. A 27-year-old Nyamjargal Tumendumberil to get it done inside the distance by KO or submission. Cody Durden has been finished 7 times in his career and twice in a row. And I just can't really trust this guy to put together 15 minutes of clean work. He's just too aggressive on the feet. And Tumendumberil is a guy that His nickname is Art of Knockout. He's only got 2 knockouts, but he got 6 submission wins as well. So we know he can hurt people on the feet. We know he can submit them on the ground as well. And Cody's had 5 submission losses. So if the fight does hit the ground, I think Tumendembro is live for a submission. On the feet, I think he can hurt him. Club and sub is live. There's just too many opportunities in this one that I think Tumendembro can take advantage of that and put him away.
Yeah, Durden, one of 3 Codys on this card. But gentlemen, when we look ahead here to our favorite props, I can't look past this middleweight contest between RoboCop himself against Bruno Ferreira, who was the last man there, or not the last man, but had scored a first-round knockout over the one Gregory Rodriguez. They are meeting after a stretch in which both have won 5 of their last 6. And Danny, you're going to give me RoboCop, who I do believe is the better fighter, the opportunity to come back and score a KO of his own at plus 150 odds. I'm taking that prop. You calling me crazy here?
A little bit, because I'm going to bet at plus 275, something that already happened, which is a Bruno Ferreira knockout. And I think he can come into this rematch with the confidence knowing I can get to this guy. I mean, there's something to be said about that mental advantage. Also, like you said, I agree. Rodriguez is the better overall fighter, and he was putting it on Ferreira in their first fight. He was winning that first round. I thought I got lucky last time I cashed on Bruno Ferreira round 1 knockout at plus 800, that straight left hand down the middle that found the target. Thought maybe it was just a puncher's chance, but he set it up beautifully. He had been landing the counter right hook, and he feinted the right hook and then threw the left hand behind it. Ferreira is a very creative and powerful striker, and he showed that he can go the distance finally. His first ever decision, he went 3 rounds against Marvin Vettori, and although Vettori was largely a punching bag and has been for a lot of his fights recently, it made me, it showed me that Ferreira's improving his overall game. So, hey, if he's got improved cardio, I think he can find a knockout win again. That's how Rodriguez loses when he does. 4 of his 6 losses have come by knockout in his MMA career. Watch out for another straight left hand, man. I like the Hulk in this one.
I don't know. I like RoboCop here. That fight did take place, their first one, 2023 in Rio de Janeiro. As you mentioned, Ferreira scoring the first round KO. You know RoboCop's dangerous early. Let's see if he can even the score here. I don't love him if that fight keeps going. Hayden, when you look up and down at props, what is jumping out at you?
Well, I think this is one of the best spots on the card. I'm going to take Jung Young Lee to get it done by KO or submission at even money against Gaston Bolanos, who's going up a weight class, who's already had 2 finished losses in the UFC. I just don't really trust this guy's defense on the feet or on the ground. And Jung Young Lee, hasn't had his first win by finish in the UFC. So I think there's a little bit of a lack of belief he can do it at this level, but I don't know that Gaston Bolanos is really UFC level. So with the size, the speed advantage, and the overall skill advantage on his side, over the course of 15 minutes, I would be shocked if he can't find a way to put away Gaston Bolanos, who's been finishing 4 of his 5 losses. So give me Jung Young Lee by finish, KO or submission. Even money, I think it's a steal.
And Danny, when we look at that early prelim log that's coming at us there, are you a big backer on Sumadarji scoring another big win?
I like Sumadarji, and I like him to win by decision. We beat some of that minus 250 juice, get a plus money prop. I think he's just got a big advantage against Jesus Aguilar, who, of course, is always dangerous with that physicality, his insane power and that overhand right. The low kicks are nasty, and, of course, his signature guillotine choke. If you get in that position, Aguilar can finish with the best of them. But Madarji has the skills to keep this on the feet. He's got a nice rangy striking game. I think he's the one who will dictate the space, and I see Aguilar chasing him a lot in there, just trying for takedowns where he's unsuccessful and ending up getting outpointed at range. Aguilar is very durable, so I don't see him getting stopped, but in his last win, Madarji proved to me that he belongs at this level. I think he gets another win, keeps the streak going here.
Should be exciting stuff up and down this card on Saturday. And a reminder, of course, you can catch all the action of UFC 326 on Paramount Plus, but don't forget about, for the first time on CBS, portions of this card, the final 2 fights of the prelims, the first 2 bouts of the main card will also be simulcast on CBS. But when we return here on the early edge, it's time for some plus money bets. Let's shoot a few from downrange, long range. We got parlays, we got underdogs coming right back at you. And it's plus money time here on the Early Edge. UFC 326 this Saturday. BMF title rematch in the main event. Brian Campbell, Donnie Brasco, and Hayden Iverson back with you. And fellas, when we're talking about the parlays we like, we're combining bets here and sometimes taking a little chance on one from long range here. I'll get to that in a second, okay? Let's go with Hayden Iverson to kick it off here. What parlays are you focused on for 326 this Saturday?
Well, when I do parlays, I really do like to shoot for the moon, but this isn't exactly a moonshot. We're just going to go 2-leg KO parlay. Leg number one, we're going with Dante Johnson to win by knockout. Now, in all transparency, he was my former teammate in football in college. So I am a little bit familiar with him. And I can tell you this man is a true born fighter, and he's an extremely good athlete with big power. And he's making his second time out to the UFC octagon. And he's taking on Cody Brundage. And Cody Brundage hasn't exactly done anything recently that can make me believe he goes in there and beats Dante Johnson. And I think Dante's power is really going to make Cody want to wrestle. And I don't think Cody's going to be able to wrestle him. So I think Dante's going to be able to find the TKO, either first or second round, but we'll just play him by KO. And then we're going to add on Zhao Long to get it done by KO as well at plus 500. So overall, the parlay pays out plus 864. But I think Zhao Long can knock out Cody Garbrandt, a guy that's been knocked out many a time. So two guys that have been knocked out a good amount of times in a parlay, I'll take it. Plus 864, sign me up.
Wow, looks like Hayden targeting everyone named Cody to lose by knockout on Saturday's card. Brasco, are you backing this guy with the inside info? Ex-football teammate Dante Johnson. We taking him to the house here or what?
Absolutely. I mean, the books made him an unbettable minus 800 favorite. So, I think the outcome is imminent here. Brundage has looked pretty shaky in recent fights. He's got a really curious record, too. A couple of his wins have come by opponent disqualification in fights where he was getting beat up and got saved by a mistake. So, even in his wins, the recent against Julian Marquez with that counter uppercut, he was getting beat up against the fence. If it gets physical and nasty in there, which I expect it to, Dante Johnson's putting the hammer on him. I like the knockout prop for sure there.
Where else are you looking at for parlays at 326?
I'm going to go a little more modest than you got big swingers here. Let me get maybe just down the middle, conservative parlay. We still got plus 154 odds here. I like the spreads in MMA. Shop around for these, but this means that each of these fighters needs to win one combined round on the judges' scorecards. I'm taking Niamjargal Tumundumbari plus 3.5 and Rob Font plus 3.5. If either of these fighters get a finish, this cashes. But if it goes the distance, I expect these could actually be close fights. We talked about Tumundumbari and Cody Durden matchup, and I just feel like if Durden can't really put it on him early in this fight, he's going to end up getting cracked, put in a submission attempt at some point, and that should at least steal a round for Tumundumbari, putting him in some dangerous spots. And for Rob Font taking on Raul Rosas Chiwiwis, I think that he will have issues defending the wrestling. Initially, I thought this could be a one-way, very one-way traffic type of fight. But now, considering his improved grappling defense that he showed against Gene Matsumoto, maybe he's getting up from those takedowns. Maybe he's battling back to his feet. And while he's on the feet, he's landing more damage. He's the one popping the jab and that right hand in Raul Rosas' face. And at the end of the fight, perhaps the judges are forced to judge damage over control. In that kind of fight, I'd be happy to have a Rob Font plus 3.5 spread ticket in my pocket. So I'll combine those two spread plays. We'll get some nice plus money.
Not bad. We'll have, of course, a lot more in a bit on Font versus Rojas, a key main card bantamweight tilt. But guys, we're going parlay. Sometimes we have to have fun, right? I remember an International Fight Week a few years ago where your boy went all Albuquerque parlay. John Jones over Thiago Santos, Holly Holm over Amanda Nunes. All right, that got head kicked away. I didn't score on that one, but give me the odds on this one. A triple Cody parlay. If I'm getting three guys named Cody on the same UFC card, I'm betting all of them together at odds of plus 2683. All right, tell me what I got wrong here. Cody Brundage, Cody Durden, and maybe even a third Cody here. Putting it all together, Cody Garbrandt, the former bantamweight champion. It sounds crazy, but crazy bets are the type that hit big and give you great stories. Come on, Hayden Iverson. Give me a reason why you're not backing the triple Codys this weekend.
Well, BC, I've been pretty cold to start the year. So the fact that I don't love your parlay maybe gives it a little bit more life than some people would think. But you're betting on guys that I just personally could never trust, and the fact that three of them could win on the same night is just insane to me. So that's a big moonshot. I went a little bit more conservative compared to you, not quite as conservative to Danny Brasco, but Cody Durden is live if he gets his game going. Cody Garbrandt live for an early knockout, and Cody Brundage, even though, I think Dante Johnson's going to find that KO, Cody's always dangerous in round one. Cody can find a big shot. Cody could maybe even find a guillotine submission win if Dante Johnson shoots a sloppy takedown. So it's MMA. This is 4-ounce gloves. Anything can happen. We're playing punchy kicky, but 3 underdogs, all Cody, to get it done in one night. Good luck.
Low risk, high reward. Brundage and Garbrandt both badly need a win. They've got big power. Cody has done it again. Yeah, it feels good. Anyone under 40 get that reference? No. All right, guys. When we're talking about underdogs we did set up what is a very good matchup here between the always durable Rob Font, the 38-year-old ranked bantamweight contender, against Chihuahuas himself and Raul Rosas Jr. We've heard from Danny. He likes Font on the idea of with the plus money there. Font's got that great jab. We know that. But the thing about Raul Rosas, he bounced back beautifully from that decision loss to Christian Rodriguez. He's won 4 in a row. He scored 2 stoppages here. Hayden, are you going to take Chihuahuas who can close distance and get inside and maybe take Font's jab away from him?
I'm not. I'm going to say Rob Font is a live underdog. I know his takedown defense is pretty bad. Like on paper, it's terrible. Less than 50% at the level that he's fighting at. It's not good. But I've just really not been that impressed with Raul Rosas Jr., especially recently. He is losing rounds. So I do like that angle from Danny on the point spread for Rob Font, because I would think he wins round 3 at a fairly high clip. I would give round 1 to Raul Rosas Jr. I think he should be able to get his takedowns. And I think it really comes down to round 2. Rosas is a big favorite here and a big step up in competition. And Rob Font is a guy that is kind of the gatekeeper in the bantamweight division at this point. And he stopped a couple of guys recently. This isn't like a guy that's on a 3-fight losing streak. He stopped Gene Matsumoto. He stopped Kyler Phillips. And I think he could possibly stop Raul Rosas Jr., who's just 21 years of age. And I'm a guy that should not be trusting 21-year-olds. At one point in my life, I thought I might be a coach in college. And I said, I could never trust these 21-year-olds. Okay. I was 21 at the time. I said, looking around, I can't trust these guys with my livelihood of my job. And this week, I can't trust Raul Rosas Jr. with my money. So I think it's dog or pass. And I think Rob Font is a guy that's super live considering the amount of experience that he has.
All right, we'll have more on whether I believe Rosas can pull it off. If he does, by the way, it would be his first win over a ranked opponent, and at 21 years and 5 months of age, still on track for John Jones's record as youngest UFC champion, 23 years and 8 months. So plenty to look for up and down this card for parlays or underdogs. And when we return here, UFC 326 this Saturday, we're going to continue to get you all fired up. Co-main event best bets, main event best bets. It's a BMF title rematch. And in that co-headliner, a top 8 middleweight matchup with potential title opportunities at stake. This is the Early Edge. Your boys will be right back with you. Don't go anywhere. The Early Edge is back at it here. Co-main event and main event bets time. I'm Brian Campbell, along with Danny Brasco and Hayden Iverson. And for UFC 326 on Saturday, we've got 2 very important fights topping the bill. We will start with that co-main event, a top 8 middleweight matchup between Kyle Borralho and Reinier de Ridder, both looking to bounce back from key losses. And as we sort of set up earlier in the storylines, Borralho was competitive in a loss to number 2 Nasruddin Imavov over 5 rounds. RDR, on the other hand, has faced a lot of criticism for exhausting himself, collapsing on his stool, being unable to get up for the 5th round against late replacement Brendan Allen. However, he has since said this week that he was battling anemia. It was his 5th fight in a 12-month span since joining the UFC. all of that plays into the idea of RDR is already a wild card fighter to begin with that jiu-jitsu and that length. Is it going to be better than before? Is it going to be the same guy that beat Robert Whitaker by split decision? A lot to consider when it comes time to bet this. Danny Brasco, where are you leaning in Saturday's co-main event?
I'm leaning towards a Kyle Borralho win on the judges' scorecards because I do think, as you pointed out, we'll see an improved Ritter, especially with better health. He really had overtrained and overfought, and he said that really contributed to him capitulating against Brendan Allen. I think RDR will be live in this fight until he isn't, and Kyle Borralho really starts to take over. We saw RDR's tricky grappling even give Brendan Allen some problems in that first round. But when he's squeezing heavy on those submission attempts, when he's swimming for positions with those long limbs, it's pretty exhausting. And against a proficient grappler, wrestler, and really high-level jiu-jitsu practitioner in Kyle Borralho, I don't think his game is going to work. That's how you beat RDR. If you can shut down his grappling threat, you can outstrike him if you're a higher level. And, in his win against Robert Whitaker, RDR had the threat of that grappling in Whitaker's mind the whole time. That's why his striking was effective, those knees, his clinch work. I don't think he has that advantage at all against Borralho, a guy who, hey, we don't want to play MMA math, but handled Brendan Allen in a grappling tournament. So if he's got the physicality and the grappling skills to deal with Allen on the mat, and Allen did what he did to DeRitter, I just think when we're on the floor, Kyle Borralho will be able to handle himself no problem. And on the feet, I favor Kyle Borralho's kickboxing. He can switch stances, he's got nice kicks to the body, and eventually I feel like he's just going to take over in this fight. So really the hope in this bet is that DeRitter can last to the final bell in the scorecards, because I think Borralho will handle himself, and it just feels like the fighting nerds are back. Their gym was the hottest thing since sliced bread in the UFC, and they reached an elite level and then took a slight step back. But all of them, Hoofy, Silva, Hoofy and Silva, and now all back in the win column. I feel like Borralho, the captain, is the next up, and he's going to get this win.
Yeah, don't forget about Carlos Prates, Bruno
Prates, that's what I was looking for.
Nihal Lola Shake Shack. Let's go right there. Look, nearly a 3-1 favorite overall is Kaio, the captain of the Fighting Nerds. I also like the value in him by decision at plus 100. This really is a tough style matchup for RDR, particularly if he's unable to bring the fight to the ground. Borralho has a 76% takedown defense, and when it comes to his striking, he's so fluid and bouncy on the feet. He doesn't linger in bad situations for too long. You're really going to have to see RDR use those long limbs and try to do unorthodox, crazy stuff. For Borralho being on a team known for savages, he's really the craftsman. He's the calm, technical striker in that. I don't think he'll have that problem. Hayden, how are you looking at this fight? On a winner basis or more on a prop level?
We're going to go prop here because I'm not super inclined to lay the chalk on Kyle Borralho when the line is this wide. I think it should be a little bit closer because I think the books are kind of pushing off Reinier de Ridder as this guy that quit, and he's a lot of people just aren't on him. But I don't know that Kyle Borralho's takedown defense and overall grappling has really been tested that much in the UFC. Most of his matchups are against other strikers. So this is a completely different style that Borralho has ever seen. If Reinier de Ridder can get his game going, this fight could be very close. And the biggest asset that de Ridder has in this matchup is that it's 3 rounds. And he's a guy that usually starts hot very early. Clearly won the first round against Brendan Allen, but then he slowed down. If that was a 3-round fight, then it could be a lot closer once we get to those judges' scorecards. I'm just going to take this fight to go the distance. De Ridder is a guy that's going to make you fight. But Borralho is a guy that is very cerebral. He's not going to take a lot of risks. And if he ends up on top of de Ridder in these grappling situations, I think he's just going to try to win those minutes on the ground instead of pushing for a finish. So I just take the fight to go the distance at minus 150. Not going to go for a side. I do think Borralho probably does win the decision, but I'd rather just play it safe, lay a little more chalk, and cash the ticket.
Yeah, such an interesting matchup to bet. Not just that RDR is a wild card to begin with, right? He got lit up on the feet by Gerald Meerschaert before producing a submission win, and then he went out and beat Robert Whitaker. So he's got a lot to kind of try to turn back after that medical issue. And really the same thing with Borralho, who people forget caught weight as a championship backup 3 weeks before the Nasruddin Imavov fight. So that was 2 weight cuts in a short period of time. He also said emotionally he just wasn't there against Imavov like like he was the fight before against Jared Cannonier, which was the biggest, most dangerous test of his career to date. That's the co-main event. Let's move on now to the main event, the BMF title fight, a rematch. And of course, guys, we throw out the first meeting between Max Holloway and, of course, Charles Oliveira. It was in 2015. They were featherweights. Oliveira had that neck/esophageal injury. 99 seconds later, the fight's over. In Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, by the way. They're back with much more at stake, as we've established. So, Danny Brasco, when you look at this matchup, which screams action, I got a lot of questions. Namely, does it go the distance? Who wins? Where are we going with this fight?
I'm just going to pick a side because I feel like odds makers are giving us a totally fair price on Max Blessed Holloway. Minus 225 range. I feel like that's more than fair. This is a guy that has the clear advantage in this fight because I'm asking myself, what is Charles Oliveira's path to victory? Of course, he's got the second most wins in UFC history, so maybe that seems like a ludicrous question, but against a guy like Holloway, it's got to be submission or bust. You're not going to outstrike the best boxer that ever lived. BC, you talked about that on yesterday's show when he's screaming against Calvin Kattar, landing a record number of significant strikes, looking over at the broadcast booth, slipping a shot, and landing a no-look jab. I mean, the guy has done some amazing things with his striking game in the UFC, and it's only evolving more as his career continues. He can fight on the outside now. He doesn't need to rely on that volume, on that death by 1,000 paper cuts and pressure style. He can let his opponent come to him. And with his newfound power and counterpunching at lightweight, he can put damage on him with the best of them. We remember that epic shot over Justin Gaethje at the buzzer for that knockout in the BMF belt. How about the buzzer beater at the end of the first round, the spin kick to the nose that broke Justin Gaethje's nose and really impacted that whole fight? Holloway can land those kicks from the outside. I think he's going to use Charles Oliveira's aggression against him, play the matador to the bull, and piece him up in this fight. I got Max all day.
Minus 225 on that Holloway money line at age 34. I think he's the rightful favorite. But Hayden, when we're looking at Oliveira at 36, I felt like we wanted to count him out when he was stopped by Ilia Topuria, Islam Makhachev. He did bounce back in a big way against Mateusz Gamrot. Where are you leaning on this main event?
I'm going to go under 3.5 rounds. I don't really want to play a side here because I think Oliveira is a live underdog, but I don't really trust his durability. He's going to make Max fight, and I think somebody's going to go down. It's Charles Oliveira fight. Usually you're going to want to take the unders in those. This guy is kill or be killed. In a BMF title fight, I don't think he's going to, sit back and try to outpoint Max Holloway. But Max Holloway can knock him out as well. So I think somebody either gets finished on the feet, but if the fight hits the ground, I don't really trust Holloway's ground game because we haven't seen it. So I think Charles Oliveira could finish him on the ground as well. Give me the under.
At the end of the day, I'm sticking with Max Holloway. The recent performances were enough to show me where he's still at. I believe he's of that top 10 pound for pound mold still. And I think the longer this fight goes, the worse it goes for Oliveira. I get Max Holloway by TKO KO at plus 150. Recent history is telling me to take this. Oliveira runs into oncoming traffic. That could be his downfall. We'll see what happens on Saturday night. But when we come back here on the early edge with Brian Campbell, Hayden Iverson, and Danny Brasco, it will be our best bets time. It's all going down Saturday in Las Vegas at T-Mobile Arena. What's the best bet you should make? Come back on the other side and find out. The early edge, 326. Let's go. UFC 326 this Saturday on Paramount Plus. It's time here for best bets on the early edge. BC Brasco and Hayden with you. And fellas, we know we're going to get a lot of action on this card. We also learned some things today talking to each other, right? Who would have thought Hayden played college football with Dante Johnson? Who would have thought Danny hangs out with UFC translators? And oh, by the way, there is someone on this planet bold enough to put 3 Codys in a parlay, okay? And you're looking at them. But what I want now, though, is the best of the bets, the best bets you've got for Saturday's loaded card from Las Vegas. Hayden, let's go to you first. Where are you putting the cashola down? And give me that guarantee. Come on, let's go.
Well, I can't guarantee it, but I can tell you, I really feel like Michael Johnson at 39 years of age is in a much better form than Drew Dober at 37. Drew Dober was on a 3-fight losing streak, and was going very competitive with Kyle Prepolek, who doesn't even have a UFC win. And it took a nut shot for him to finish him off in round 3 after the pause in action. So I think with that win, him coming off that win, we're getting a little bit of a discount here. Michael Johnson's on a nice little winning streak. And I think Michael Johnson comes into this fight with an extreme speed advantage over Drew Dober. Drew Dober is a guy that walks forward, comes at you with those 1-2, those 3-2 combinations, trying to put your lights out, but he's so hittable and he's taken so much damage over the years that I don't know that he can keep it up. He got his chin cracked against Matt Frevola. He's been cracked by Manuel Torres as well. He got doctor stoppage TKO'd in the John Silva fight because his face was a bloody mess. And I think Michael Johnson's going to be able to touch him up early on in the fight. Could see an early KO as the fight goes on. As long as Michael Johnson doesn't slow down too much, I think he should be able to win the fight. So Michael Johnson minus 115. I think he should be a minus 150 favorite or higher. So I like it. 39 years of age, doesn't scare me. Get it done, MJ.
Darn near a man, darn near 40. Who would have thought Michael Johnson in the year of 2026 would have won 4 of 5 coming in here? I hear everything you're saying about Dober. I just feel like these are one of those situations where he's that type of guy that bounces back with a big win you don't see coming. So I do like Dober on the plus money, despite what you're saying there. Man, I've got a feeling for these guys that are desperate, that need it. Maybe that's just me. Brasco, give me a best bet. What are you looking at?
I'll break the tie. I'm leaning towards Johnson, too. I like Hayden's take there, BC. But my best bet, I'm all in on Max Blessed Holloway in this spot. And really, it was his last fight against Dustin Poirier that proved to me I'm still getting the top-tier mint version of Holloway, because look at that second round. It's one of the best second rounds you'll watch of any fight ever. Poirier hurt Holloway. I have questions about his durability after the Ilia Topuria knockout loss. And what did Holloway do? He got back up and responded in kind. Then he almost put Poirier away in the same round. And from then on out, it was his fight. That power at lightweight is able to stun his opponents in a way that he didn't have before. He can fight on the outside. He can put on the pressure style. Holloway has a lot of new nuance to his striking game, even more than he did early in his career as the best boxer in MMA, right? If Oliveira can't fight this, force this fight to the ground, I just see him out of options in this one. So give me Holloway all day in this fight. He is the certified BMF, and he'll defend the title once more.
Yeah, plus money on the Holloway knockout finish. I do love that as well, as we're going to find out here. Can he defend that BMF title for a second time? Look, my best bet is going to focus on that Rosas versus Font bantamweight tilt that is on the main card. And I know, fellas, you both like Rob Font, the stubborn 38-year-old with the great jab, but we have seen him handled on the ground before. And say what you will about the cringe factor of old Cheweewees over there, but at age 21, look, Raul Rosas is pretty darn good, and he's streaking with 4 wins, 2 by stoppage, and he's so great at closing distance in a snap that I don't know necessarily if he will have a problem with Font's jab. Yes, Font has only lost 1 after winning 2 before that, but we did see there the speed of David Martinez give him issues. I'm not only going to take Raul Rojas, I'm going to take him by sub here. I think this will be a big moment where he truly announces himself, and at plus 350, I can get that. It'll be a breakthrough win for him. I'm leaning hard on that. I'm taking a chance. Hey, do what you will with the Cody information that I gave you, but I think this is Raul Rojas' time. And fellas, as we wrap up and close here, the big question I have is, who is the winner going to call out? Max versus Charles. If it's Max, are we getting Connor or what? Come on, Danny.
It's Connor, it's Ilya, or it's Gaethje, and I'm fired up for any of those fights. I'm thinking it's the wait for Ilya Topuria. I'm waiting for that to materialize. We don't know what's going to happen with him yet. The Islam Makhachev fight is still hearsay. That rematch could come sooner.
All right. Hayden, you have any words to throw in on this?
It's got to be Connor. It's got to be. It's the biggest fight. It's the biggest money fight. Doesn't matter about titles. You face Conor McGregor, you're going to get paid, and people will know you forever.
Could that be the White House? Could that be International Fight Week? We gotta tune in to find out. This Saturday, tune in to UFC 326 on Paramount Plus with a special simulcast on CBS to close the prelims and kick off the main card. Do not miss it. But for Danny Brasco and Hayden Iverson, I am Brian Campbell, and this was The Early Edge. Thank you so much for watching. You can download the podcast right now using that QR code. Enjoy the fights this weekend. We are out.